Hey, another Wednesday, quick Bible study with Pastor Mark from the Word of Life Fellowship Church in Omaha, Nebraska. Sometimes we can become so focused on the situation, on the circumstances, on the symptoms, on the problem, that when the answer to our prayers has come, we don't recognize it. We don't recognize it as such. In John chapter 11, the 32nd verse, Mary, Lazarus' sister, says, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." And then she weeps. My guess is when she ran up to Jesus, she was already weeping. It doesn't say that, but that's just the way I picture it in my mind. And it says that, and the word says there that the Lord verse 33, so it's the very next verse. Sorry, I took using my Bible on my app. So the very next verse, it says, "Therefore," or because of this, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the others with her who were weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he says, "Where have you laid him?" And the next verse there says, Jesus wept. So everybody's crying. She's so sad. She's grieving the loss of her brother. We find out in a couple of verses that he's been dead for 4 days already. It's been a very sad time. And Mary and her sister Martha, well, even Lazarus, while he still lived, they all held out hope that Jesus would arrive before the worst would happen, because they knew he could heal Lazarus. And Mary was so focused, well, Martha too, but we're talking about this verse 32 today. Mary was so focused on the situation that when the answer came, she couldn't recognize it. She did not know that the solution to her problem had arrived. This is just a short tidbit, but this is what I have for today. It's easy to be so focused on the need, on the situation, on the calamity, whatever it might be, the illness, the doctor's report, the pile of bills on the counter, but the paycheck isn't meeting it. It's easy to be so focused on those things that when the solution shows up, we can miss it. Now, I'm going to, spoiler alert here, later in chapter 11, Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead after being dead for 4 days. And no doubt, now there's no verses to this effect, but there's no doubt in my mind, after they got those grave clothes off at Lazarus, and Mary and Martha their weeping turned to laughter, and the disciples no doubt were overcome, and there's suddenly from mourning, they're celebrating. And in no time at all, people being what we are, they're sitting down and they're eating and they're talking and they're laughing, and they can't imagine how in the world. Well, the resurrection and the life showed up. Earlier in chapter 11, Jesus says that to Martha, Mary's sister, when Jesus says, well, he's going to rise again. He's telling her, he's going to rise. I'm going to raise him up, in so many words. And she says, well, I know he will in the last days, in the resurrection. And Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. If anybody believes in me, though they are dead, yet shall they live. And it goes right over her head. Goes right over her head. Because, like her sister, too focused on the situation. Am I chastising them? Not at all. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not mocking them. I'm not making fun of them. I'm not saying they should have known better. I'm saying they were people, ordinary people, like you and me. And you and me sometimes get too focused on the stuff going on in our lives that we lose focus on the answer that we've been asking for. Or we're looking for it in a certain way. They were looking for the answer, Jesus showing up before Lazarus dies. Once he died, to them all hope is lost. But when you have Jesus, you have hope. All right. Well, I know this is quick. I hope that this was a blessing to you. I'd love to see you on Sunday morning, 10:30 at the True by Hilton, and the main conference room on the first floor, 10:30 this Sunday, right behind the Scooters Coffee Shop. Sorry, somebody's sending me a bunch of texts. God bless you. I hope you have a really good rest of your day.